For this trend, I want to talk about navigating generational change. Now, in agriculture, this isn't a subject that's necessarily new. We have been going through generational change for some time in agriculture. That said, when we think about generational change, we generally think about the farmer customer. We think about the generational change taking place at the field level. What I want to talk about is the generational change taking place at the business level, at the industry level, in the corporations and the businesses that serve the farmer customer. At the end of the day, agriculture is an old industry. When we compare agriculture as an industry to many of the other industries in the world, we see a pretty large difference in the generational divide. When you start to take a look at those who are making the key decisions in agriculture versus those in other industries, you start to see that the average age of the C-suite in agriculture is 56 years old. You start to see that the average age of a chief marketing officer in an agricultural company is 54 years old. For example, if you compare this to tech, the average age of a tech CEO is only 45 years old. The average age of a CMO is even less. You start to see that the decision makers making decisions in agriculture tend to be older. They're of older generations serving older generations. That's what's happening in agriculture right now. So as much as we know new generations are coming in at the farm level, we're not shifting the decision-making authority and the decision-making power within the organizations to the younger generations to better fit. That said, in agriculture, generational change at the corporate level is going to happen whether we want it or not. As the C-suite, as those in their 50s and 60s start to exit the business, middle management will soon inherit a major burden of leadership like never before. What you're going to see is, again, a large exodus of baby boomers, with many of these older leaders leaving the organizations and those that decision-making power going with them. You're also seeing at the same time a large influx of millennial workers. So you're seeing an exodus at the top and a large influx at the bottom. And what this is putting pressure on is these middle generations like Gen X that needs to lead and needs to make decisions that are now being handed upon them. What's very interesting is Gen X and some of these middle generations are much smaller than those that are both leaving and that are coming in. So there's fewer who need to do more. What this means in agriculture and agri-marketing is that we can't forget about Gen X and these middle generations. We need to make sure that they are prepared for leadership, that they are prepared to handle the decisions that they're going to be making both today and tomorrow, that they are prepared to lead the large influx of individuals who are going to be coming in beneath them, that they are prepared to take on the next challenges of agriculture. It also means that we need to engage younger customers and audiences now. And there's a fantastic way to do so, not just through the middle generation of Gen Xers, but with this large influx of millennials and the younger generations coming in. What better way to endear yourself to the younger farmer customers and the younger farmer decision makers than to have your younger generations serving them? Get them to make decisions and get them coming up with the ideas to serve them. They will know them better because they are part of them. A big part of this is driving decisions down the org chart. As I mentioned, senior leadership, senior levels within organizations right now are of the older generations, and they are serving a generation in agriculture on the farm that is leaving. So you can't have those decisions being made all at the top. You have to drive them down to both this middle management and the younger generations. And finally, lean into and leverage internal youth for new ideas. As I mentioned before, it is so important that agriculture continue to bring new ideas to the consumers, to not just our customers, but to consumers at large. And these newer generations have a different perspective. They may not have been as close to the farm, but that's okay. They've got a better perspective possibly on the consumer viewpoint as well as the younger farmer generation. They can bring new ideas to the table, and we have to listen to those. Those new ideas will be what drives us forward.